Hi folks, welcome to the Cannabis Corner. I'm your host, Kerry Burns. When our amazing founding fathers set up this country back in the late 1700s, when they declared their Declaration of Independence and later their Constitution, they bestowed the powers upon the people. It was the people who were to decide how the government ran, not how the government should decide how the people run. And sadly enough, in today's and for quite some time in this country, we have had the opposite going on. The government has been running the people. And what's even worse about it is that the government doesn't listen to the people. And throughout the last 70 years since they've had cannabis illegal in this country, there have been many instances and many events that occurred that the government, some of them sanctioned by the government, but the government just absolutely refused. At the beginning of the time when the Marijuana Tax Act actually came out in October of 1937, they had appointed a commission there through the Treasury Department under the Bureau of Narcotics to look at marijuana and all the different people using it and stuff, because it really hadn't had any events going on that made it, dangerous or anything. And they adopted a commission to take a look at it. And the commission came back saying pretty much that marijuana was safe. Yet the end result was the Marijuana Tax Act passed anyway. And this was even at the hand of the Harvard Medical School telling the senators, look, you are making a huge, grave mistake here. This is an herb. This is a medicinal plant. This is one that's very beneficial and very useful and is not harmful to anybody. We've given dosages to children that would be 50 times more than a strong user of today would even be taken. And we never had any problems. Nobody ever went to the hospital. Nobody ever died from it. And so even with the Harvard Medical School telling them, please, you're making the biggest mistake, they did not listen. The cronies already had their plan in place and they did not listen to it. It's a perfect example. The Marijuana Tax Act passed. Then when we went into war, of course, we needed hemp because the Japanese had cut off the supply from the Philippines. So all of a sudden, hemp and cannabis was mainstream again. It was okay. Hey, you look at the Hemp for Victory, it's such a happy video. They start talking about the history of cannabis and how it's been used for cultures for thousands of years and all. And then as soon as the war was over, what do? They killed the industry again. Well, there'd been so many people putting out all of these bad things about cannabis and how it was the assassin of youth and all of that. And also the mayor of New York City, he decided to do his own study. And he did one, and that was LaGuardia. It's called the LaGuardia Report. They did a one-year study in New York City. They looked at everything. They looked at the low-profile districts in New York City. They looked at all the different races, everybody across the board, from rich to poor. And their basic conclusion from the report was that they didn't support these findings of all this craziness going on, that people were dying from it, that violent crime was being committed because of marijuana use and the thieving and stuff like that was going on. They absolutely found the opposite to be true. And so, but did the government do anything about that? Absolutely not. Went just right on through like it had never happened. We get up into the 1960s, and Anslinger, one of the chief doctors of the Marijuana Tax Act from the beginning in 1937. He's still around, couldn't get rid of him. It's like some of these senators that we have. But here they're going to form the Singles Narcotics Treaty in '61. Now this is an international treaty through the United Nations that's going to control drug policy for this country. And by the way, there were 20 countries that we've been to war at or had skirmishes with that made drug policy for the United States back in the 1960s. But there was a commission back then, even that had spilled over from the Geneva Commission, that said, we are absolutely not going to put cannabis on there. What did they do? They didn't listen. Cannabis got on there, and not only got on there, but they scheduled it with the worst ones, just like they did 10 years later. Nixon comes along with his Controlled Substance Act. And of course, they had the Schaefer Commission then. And this was a pretty extensive study. I mean, this just, for the time and all, they really did some extensive research and stuff. And the Schaefer Commission said marijuana shouldn't even be illegal. If nonetheless, it should be decriminalized, and we certainly shouldn't be locking people up for it. What happened? Did Nixon listen to that? They laughed him out of the room, and guess what was the end result? The Controlled Substance Act. And here we go. We slide into the 80s. We got our illustrious Ronald Reagan and Papa Bush, H.W., all of them right there together, and we've got this beefed up war on drugs going with the Drug Enforcement Agency and all that, while known CIA airplanes are smuggling cocaine into this country. So, you know, it's sort of a play on words here, people. I mean, we've had several petitions come before the Drug Enforcement Agency. The first one in 1972 by Normal. It was ignored for 20 years. They didn't even look at it because the Drug Enforcement Agency's business is chasing after cannabis and cannabis users and cannabis smugglers, cannabis growers, you name it. That's their business. It encompasses 65 to 75% of their budget. It's not about chasing drugs worldwide. It's about chasing the cannabis. Yeah, they do have a pretty good stand going in Colombia where they're fighting the coke cartel down there. But the main thing that they do is chase after the cannabis. Were any of these petitions in the 80s, were any of them, even the judge that looked at the petition that told the Drug Enforcement Agency, you've got to act on this and all. He said, people are not having their, injurious effects from using this substance. Why do we have it on controlled substance at all? Ignored it, went on, just completely ignored. Another petition in the 90s, once we found out that the human brain had THC receptor sites that are naturally occurring in the body, they're specific for THC, specific for cannabis. Didn't anything happen? Drug Enforcement Agency had just completely ignored it, from front to back. They said, nope, marijuana's dangerous. We're going to concert an all-out effort. And if you look at all the arrests in all the cities, the big cities and stuff, their number one priorities are marijuana arrests because it's easy money. They don't have to go and do a bunch of case study. They don't have to go face people who are dangerous or anything like that. It's easy money. Most of the people that they catch with the cannabis and all, they've got money, so they can pay these fines and make lots of money for the system. Court system benefits, they make money. The judges, the lawyers, all of them, they all make money on it. Prison system, they make money on it. So how convenient it is. But the public outcry, people are calling in, people are standing up. Look, it's time to legalize this plant. It's time to end this prohibition. It was unfounded. It's unconstitutional. It's the dumbest thing that's ever happened in the last 70 years in this country. And there's quite a few dumb things that have happened, but this is one of the biggest ones. And also, too, more than anything, in these economic depressed times, we are limiting the hemp industry from happening, and this could be our fail-safe. This could be what pulls us out of what we're going on in this country right now. So it's good to write your congressman all that. I don't think any of them are going to listen. I do believe that it's going to take a massive gathering, a massive protest. People are really going to have to just come together and say enough is enough. And I hope you'll join the effort, and I thank you for spending time in the Cannabis Corner.